Welcome to the Picture Book Library. Hello, my name's Katie, and I'm a mom of 6 and a self-professed children's book addict. I created this channel to share the picture books that I know and love. So if that sounds like your thing, hit the subscribe button down below. Today, I'm so excited to be reviewing Make Way for Ducklings. Make Way for Ducklings is the story of Mr. and Mrs. Mallard and their search for a place to raise their ducklings. They look at lots of different places, all of which Mrs. Mallard deems unfit to raise a family. They visit Boston Public Gardens, which seems like an ideal place. There's a pond with an island and a boat full of tourists that throws peanuts all day. However, there are bicycles and other things with wheels that are dangerous, and so this is also knocked off the list. Finally, they find a little island in the river, and it's nice and quiet, and they settle down there to hatch their ducklings. They also befriend a policeman named Michael who feeds them peanuts. They end up having 8 ducklings named Jack, Cat, Lack, Mac, Knack, Whack, Pack, and Quack. Mr. and Mrs. Mallard are very proud. After a while, Mr. Mallard decides to take a trip to see what the rest of the river looks like. They decide to meet back at the Boston Public Gardens in a week. Mrs. Mallard has everything in hand, and during that week, she teaches the ducklings to swim, dive, walk in a straight line, and come when they're called. I feel like I could learn something from Mrs. Mallard. Finally, Mrs. Mallard feels they're ready and they head to the park. However, when they come to a street, they run into a problem. The cars start to honk, Mrs. Mallard starts to quack, and Michael comes running to see what's going on. Michael helps them get across this street and then runs back to his police booth and calls up the station to ask for help from the rest of the force. The other policemen of Boston come out and direct traffic and help Mrs. Mallard cross all the streets she needs to cross to get all the way to the Boston Public Gardens. Once they arrive, like the very polite duck family that they are, they all turn around and quack thank you to the police officers. Then they waddle into the garden and meet Mr. Mallard at the island in the pond. Now that the ducklings have been taught to avoid all things with wheels, they feel that the park is a perfect place to raise their family, and so they stay there and eat peanuts from the boat full of tourists all day. Robert McCloskey's first book was called Lentil, and it was published in 1940. It was pretty popular, but when Make Way for Ducklings was published in 1941, it was a wild success. It won the Caldecott Medal the year that it was published, and it has remained one of the top children's books of all time. Robert McCloskey said he had heard stories of the ducks in Boston and how they would cause traffic problems, and the story just developed from there. He is the author and illustrator of this book, and you can see the skill of his illustrations. The ducklings look real. He first studied stuffed ducks in a museum, and then he heard of a market where he could buy live ducklings. He brought a bunch of them home and put them in his bathtub so he could draw them. However, they were quite wild and difficult to draw, so he decided to give them a little wine to calm them down, and it worked. But his perseverance shows in his drawings, and you just feel like you could scoop the ducklings up off the page. There was a short film made based on this book back in the 60s or 70s or something.
Make Way for Ducklings.
And it's on Amazon Prime. I'll link it below. There's also a biography of Robert McCloskey that was made around the same time, and I'll link that below as well.
On this wall is a press sheet from Bert Dow, Deepwater Man, my latest book. Printed on both sides. When folded and sewn up the back edge and snipped, trimmed on the other 3, makes a 64-page book.
I think you have to rent that one on Amazon, but it might be on YouTube. Anyway, I'll link it down there. Make Way for Ducklings has also been immortalized in the Boston Public Gardens. There is a beautiful statue of a mama duck with her ducklings, and it's in honor of Robert McCloskey, who gave us this beautiful story. Robert McCloskey was once told, "Write what you know," and he took that to heart. His books show a beautiful family structure with a confident, capable mother, a father who keeps his promises. H. Nichols Clark once said he's the picture book equivalent of Norman Rockwell. He really gave us stories that capture the sweet moments of life and bring out the best in all of us. So I would love to know, have you read Make Way for Ducklings? What do you think? What's your favorite part? Have you read any other Robert McCloskey books? Comment down below. I would love to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed this review and have a great day. Bye.